Alright guys, welcome back to another Zoids review. So this time we're doing another one of the Zoids Wild Zero motorized kits, and this is the Styraser, or Stylaser, depending on how you want to say it, from Zoids Wild Zero. You guys saw me build this live on stream, along with the Rising Liger and the Hasbro Liger Zero X, and we were going to do the Gojil's Giga until all that drama happened. But yeah, this kit I actually like quite a bit. This is probably one of my more favorite Zoids Wild kits. And generally the whole Zoids Wild Zero line has been pretty good overall. And a lot of it is just taking the same designs from the Zoids Wild line and upgrading them with cooler parts, with better molded details, giving them a more dark and more sort of militaristic aesthetic, and just putting weapons on them. And honestly, that makes a world of difference. And also using some more appealing colors. So the Styraser here is the upgraded version of the Triceradogos from Zoids Wild, and again, they made it a lot more pointier, edgier, and gave it a lot more weapons. This is considered an Imperial Heavy Zoid, according to the story of Zoids Wild Zero, and of course, being that I haven't really seen much of the anime yet, I can't really tell you as far as how it is applied in combat there, but I would imagine that this thing is sort of comparable to that of the Darkhorn or maybe even the Iron Kong for their army, to make a comparison to the Gylos Empire. Similar again to the Bazoodle that I reviewed previously. This is just an upgraded version of a Zoids Wild kit that is much better for the upgrades. So a couple things I really like about the sort of style and aesthetic of it is the primary color is this sort of desert gray color scheme right here, and then you have this gold as the accent here. Now this is not really a heavily metallic gold, but it is molded in gold plastic, and it does look pretty nice. And then of course the face right here has the red visor right here, which is metallic, that looks really nice. The same thing on the Bazoodle, and that looks a lot better than the armor coverage we had on the Triceradogos. The Triceradogos does not have nearly as much armor as this thing does. Now, one of the things I was a little puzzled by this kit regarding the motorized function, get it more centered on the display table there. These fins right here are supposed to kind of fold back onto the body of it a little bit, and I'm assuming that's part of the motorized function. So when the motorized function is actually working, and I don't put batteries in these, as you guys know, because I don't want anything bad to happen. You'll leave a battery in there, acid leaks out, stuff like that. So I typically just don't put any batteries in any of the motorized kits these days, although I probably need to do that so I can show the motorized function on screen. But the flaps are designed to kind of fold back, and then they flare out as it's walking, which is pretty cool. And I guess these parts on the end right here are also articulated a little bit and designed to be weapons. But this part up here, which blends seamlessly with the rest of the sort of brow front right here, but this part right here is most definitely a weapon, and you can see the gun barrels right here as it flips forward. And I have seen clips of the anime where it does flip these things forward and fire out of them, and it does look pretty cool. And of course we have a rotating missile launcher right here, which does extend outward from the barrel right here. We can actually just go ahead and take this whole thing out if we choose to. And this is some other type of weapon on the Triceradogos, but it sort of maintains the same function overall there. As we get back here, a lot more of the skeleton underneath is sort of visible. The one thing I was never really quite sure on following the instructions is this piece up here rotates, and I'm not sure if it's meant to be, as I just pop it off there, I'm not sure if it's meant to be facing forward or facing up the way that I have it, or if it's just kind of however you want to put it, but it doesn't seem like it really serves much of a purpose. So, you know, we're just gonna show what it's like to, you know, put all the armor back on. You know, put all of the armor back on, because, you know, nothing ever goes wrong until you hit the record button, and then you drop it, and the entire thing just kind of falls apart. And yeah, that's just how that goes. And you know, it's just what you deal with being a model builder and a content creator. You just, stuff just falls apart, and we least expect it. Anyway, so I like this piece of armor back here that actually goes on, because it just fits in one tiny little piece right there, and it covers a lot. And then, of course, the individual fins right here, which I'm probably going to put back on incorrectly, but who cares? They actually slide vertically into those pieces that interact with the motor. So, again, I think this entire gold piece right here also comes out as part of that ramming function that the Triceradogos had. Interestingly enough, from a lore standpoint, I should have mentioned this earlier, but the Triceradogos actually was repurposed into, I guess, what they call the Triceradogos Kai in the anime, and it's sort of this weird blue color, and it has some cannons on it, and it's featured on the Republic Army, similar to what they did with the Wild Liger as well. I showed that off in the last Market Watch, where the Wild Liger is allegedly getting a new model kit where it's been repainted in that blue color, and it has the cannons on it as well as the whole cannonball arrangement on the top there. But yeah, I really do like this guy a lot, and I like the little missiles back here as well. They're kind of unobtrusive, and this guy would also look really cool with a lot of the weapons that come with the weapon modification kits, which I have one of those, and I'll be doing a video on it probably pretty soon. This is one of the larger Zoids Wild kits, as you can see, just by the size of the box and the size of the kit itself, and we'll do a size comparison very soon. But I think it's definitely a slightly more complex build than the majority of the bog standard Zoids Wild kits, so for that reason it is a little bit nicer, it's a little bit more in-depth, and it's only slightly more expensive than the base middle-of-the-range ones like the Wild Liger, the Rising Liger, and the Bazoodle. So honestly, it's a slightly more expensive than those, but not noticeably so. So like I said, it reminds me a lot of the Dark Horn or even the Iron Kong. And just from a visual standpoint, a design standpoint, a build standpoint, and just everything, I couldn't be more satisfied with the visual aesthetic of the Cannonball, the Bazoodle, and the Styraser here combined really complete that Zoids Wild Zero aesthetic, and I think puts it on something comparable to what we enjoyed with the older series, and how the older series, of course, are celebrated by fans and considered to be superior to Zoids Wild, and that Zoids Wild was a huge departure, and people didn't like the look of that. Even like some of the Biozoid type of things in Genesis, people didn't like that either. But here, I think, is where we finally get it back to a respectable aesthetic. I also like how it does have a very armored, very tank-like look to it, because if you look at the configuration that some of these plates are in, it kind of reminds me a lot of the Cannon Taurus. You see, actual armor plates like a tank here and there. So we know this thing can probably take quite a bit of a punishment as well. And it still maintains a lot of that skeletal dinosaur-style aesthetic that a lot of the Zoids Wild kits have. And the pegs that are all over it that allow us to attach a lot of the weapon modification pieces are more subtle because it already has a more spiky, dinosaur-like aesthetic to it as well. So we're going to do a quick size comparison. So here it is next to the Rising Liger, which is going to be our next review. And of course, the Rising Liger is the exact same size as the Beast Liger and the Wild Liger that we've already reviewed. So, of course, the blade's going to pop out because, of course, it does. There we go. So, as you can see, the Styraser there is quite a bit bigger than the Rising Liger, and part of that is just all the stuff that sticks out and gives it a more intimidating sort of flair to it, but on top of that, it's also just taller and longer as well, so that's pretty cool. And here we have a size comparison next to the Kotobukiya HMM Cannon Tortoise that I just finished. And so, even though this is a Kotobukiya kit, being that it is still 1/72nd scale, as you can see, it's quite a bit smaller than the Triceradogos or the Styraser there, for that matter. I may have to go and revisit a lot of these kits after I've actually seen Zoids Wild Zero, the anime, and I really have no excuse for having not watched it yet, aside from that there's no really reliable first-party place to watch it with subtitles. So I'm going to have to do some digging, but I'm very much looking forward to seeing it because I think it's the best Zoids anything we've gotten since Chaotic Century, which is really saying something. But let me know what you guys think. If you guys can find this guy online, definitely pick him up. I wouldn't pay for more than like $45 for it before shipping. You can probably still get it on HLJ and AmiAmi. The in-stock on the Zoids Wild and Zoids Wild Zero kits has been pretty reliable, but again, I wouldn't pay a whole lot of money for it, and shipping is still pretty outrageous right now, so just keep that in mind. But these kits are going to start getting harder to find now that Zoids Wild Zero has concluded its running and is going off the air, and these kits are going to be out of print and eventually are going to be harder to find, so but definitely pick it up if you can. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Do you guys miss the gaming content I used to do on this channel? Did you guys know this is actually my second channel? My wife Michelle and I over on the primary Star-Crossed Souls channel do gaming content as well as content about conventions and cosplay, and some of the niche fandoms we're into, such as Fire Emblem, Fate, and Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm also doing a retrospective series on the entire Type Moon series and all of the Fate works. It's a series I'm very proud of and has the highest amount of editing and production quality in anything I've ever done in my entire career of making videos. So if you guys are interested in checking that out, make sure to follow us on the main Star-Crossed Souls channel, and follow Michelle and I on Instagram for her art projects and my cosplay projects. I'll see you guys next time.